Dokidoki Precure has one of the more unique art styles in the franchise. The most prominent features at a first glance are the detailed eyes and hair, the way the hair curls in interesting ways, and the way the noses are drawn, as well as the amount of lashes on the character's eyes. I think this style has a lot of fun stuff I want to go over, which is why in this episode of Design Diary, that's the season we'll be focusing on. In case you don't know me, my name is Cure Ice. I cover magical girls and idols. I also have a Tumblr and a Twitter, as well as a DeviantArt if you want to see what I draw. With that said, let's get right into the first topic, which will be the designs of the cures themselves. When I first saw these designs, I remember disliking the hair, mostly because of how overly complicated it was. At the time I was really young and I didn't really like the fact that it was so hard for me to draw these characters, and that may have contributed to my dislike of the designs. I didn't enjoy the season, but looking at them again, I really do think that these are some overlooked designs that I don't see people appreciate as much as they should, so let's go over why I feel that way. Looking at them as a team, we can see that each of the 5 cures uses elements from each other's outfits that gives the team a unique sense of unity. Smile had almost, or rather, pretty much identical outfits, so it's nice to see that this season they chose a few distinct elements and then spread them out. We'll view them as a group before we focus on them individually. The most glaring similarity is the multi-layered skirts and the heart emblems on the chest. The first 4 cures to join the team also have a bow on their waist. However, Cure Ace has, her transformation trinket. Another similarity is the white sleeves and the white underskirts and petticoats. The sleeves are in different styles. Heart and Sword have winged sleeves that are open, while Rosetta and Ace have clamped sleeves. Aces are tinged red under the band, but they're pretty much the same shape as Rosetta's. Diamond has one of each. Heart and Diamond also have a colored strap around their chests and waists. We can see these appearing first in the transformations, and Heart and Sword also have sleeves that are detached from their main dress, with Sword's white stripe matching Rosetta's. The team doesn't have unity in the sense that they're all the same, but there's a few elements that different members share that make it so when you see them together, the outfits aren't too similar, but they're similar enough to keep them looking like a team. This is a problem I've heard some people complain about in the recent seasons, and I think Dokidoki really did show that they don't all have to look the same, or they don't have to look completely different. You can find a balance between the two. Lastly, the inner part of Ace's boots kinda resembles Cure Diamond's, while the stripe design of the boot resembles Cure Heart's stripe on her shoes. I mentioned this last because it feels a bit like a stretch, but I still think it warrants bringing up. Beyond these initial similarities, I really appreciate the motifs present in each design. The fabric underneath each of the heart emblems matches their card suit, and the silhouettes also help to emphasize that through the cure's hair. Mana has 2 curls resembling a heart. Rika's hair stands at the side of her face to make the edges look kinda like a diamond. I can't see it on Alice and Makoto, so I won't bring them up, but Cure Ace's hair does kind of form an A. I know this is also reaching, but it seems somewhat intentional. It's one of those areas where you can't really tell, but, I see it, so I thought I'm going to bring it up. The cures this time don't stick to one color, but they do incorporate white accents. I think every single cure has white on her, kind of like how the next season has every single cure in a black jacket. I like that Ace and Diamond's design use a bit of gold, especially the band on Diamond. I think it's very stylish. Cure Heart has some blue on her, but my favorite use of a different color is in Cure Rosetta. Her green bone accents, as well as her orange hair, mesh really well with the golden yellow of her outfit. Honestly, I feel like some brown would have worked here too, but Rosetta is definitely the cure that uses color the best as far as these designs go. Overall, I love that the cures have really unique touches that end up bringing them all together. Given how bouncy and rounded the hair curls are, I think the highlighting method used really works. It makes the hair look really gummy and glossy. I also think it's the most efficient way of shading hair like this. I can't imagine them trying to go with something more realistic. This just seems like the quickest way to shade hair that's so detailed. Now for this season I was able to find beta designs and there's a lot to see here. Cure Hearts is the most interesting because her design was initially purple, which means she could have been the second non-pink lead in Precure, or maybe third. I can't remember what the Splash Star Cure looked like right now. I'm not a fan of the hair. I do prefer what we got, but it looks very fun. It looks like a bow, and I can imagine it bouncing as she's fighting. It would be really fun to see animated. There's a version in these sketches that shows her with purple hair and pink clothes, but there's also versions with purple as her main color and magenta being used for the ribbon. There's even some with red in here, which really makes me think they were trying to, not use pink again. I would have liked to see the team if they continued with a purple lead, but I'm still glad we got what we did. There's also this amazing picture of her with an entirely pink design, pink hair, pink clothes. It looks really good and cute, so I thought I would show you guys. Beta Cure Diamond is pretty much identical, at least I can't see any differences, so I'll skip over her and head right over to Beta Cure Rosetta. Now, she has much shorter hair. I think if she had like an extra curl on top of her head, it would form a clover, but that might just make the design a bit too busy. Her bow is a bit smaller and the hair clips are a bit rougher. I think both versions of this design look equally cute. Kier's sword is probably the most different from the final product, and her hair is a lot longer and wilder. My personal theory is that Kier's sword was meant to join halfway. We know that initially Kier's sword was meant to join halfway based on the fan book, but they decided to have her join really early on. However, I like to think that back when she was still going to join halfway, maybe she was going to appear in the middle of the story with this design. And I say this because the design doesn't really fit in with the others. It looks like a 6th Ranger design when you put it next to all the others. The dress looks incredible, by the way. I really do love how it's not the same as the others. It just ends. It doesn't have those, I can't confirm this little theory that she was the 6th Ranger. All I know is at some point she was meant to be there halfway, but I don't know whether this was the design they were going to use with that story element in mind. Lastly, we have Cure Ace. She looks pretty much the same. No gold, which I definitely do think I'm grateful for because the gold really does work well off the white and the red of her design. She looks a bit pink, but it might just be the quality of the image. Also, I don't know what object that is next to her, but it looks very strange. I can't tell what that's meant to be. But yeah, the beta designs are really cool. They show us a completely different season. And I would love to see these, drawn in the official style, maybe like a fan art poster that replaces the actual designs with the betas. Now let's talk about the civilian designs. While a lot of the alternate outfits the girls wear use their main color, their main civilian outfits don't. They use a bunch of different colors, so let's go over them individually. Mana's outfit has different shades of pink, with some white on her top and sleeves. It's a really cute outfit in my opinion, uses pastel colors to balance out her more saturated hair and skirt. It could have gone wrong really easily if they had chosen to make everything about her like really pink, which is something we saw in the beta designs, so I'm glad they took that principle of not really having it be like Smile and applied it here. Once again, Smile wasn't bad. You can watch the video if you're interested in seeing what I thought of those. Rika has a white blouse with a light blue dress. She also has brown shoes and looks somewhat formal. And Alice is probably the most dressed up as the token rich girl. She's got like this really rich, saturated yellow cardigan and orange ribbons. Her dress is almost white to balance out the duller yellow on the stockings. And just seeing the amount of frills on this, it's really clear that she's richer than the rest, or at least the outfit looks a lot more expensive. Makoto wears a white shirt and a violet tie. She also wears an open lavender vest. It gives her a really, I don't know, it just looks kind of basic. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's a really simple outfit that still manages to look stylish. Aguri's dress is beautiful and it uses some white to keep the design from being too monotonous, but it's probably the most plain of all of them. So having looked at all of the Cure's designs, excluding power-ups, I'll get to that, I can say I have a really renewed love for these designs. I didn't think there was much there, but I'm genuinely impressed by how much I ended up liking these just going over them for the video. So the next designs we're going to be going over are the mascots. I like that each of them gets a human form this season. I wasn't really a fan of the episode because I thought, wow, these are so many characters. I feel like because there were four, actually five different mascots, it may have been harder to do what a Healing Good did, but that's just like a tangent that I'm not really going to get into. I like each of their designs, but Lance is definitely my favorite. Something about the warm tone of yellow they gave him really makes him seem so cute, and the voice actor or actress really does add to the role. Yeah, Lance is definitely my favorite. In terms of human forms, I would say Davy is my favorite, if that's even how you pronounce the names, because I have no idea how to pronounce any of their names. They were always pronouncing them really differently, and no one seems to agree on what exactly the pink mascot's name is, at least last I checked. Also, I really love how when they transform into a commune, the heart shape can be used to spell out LOVE without butchering the design. The fact that they were able to make it look both stylish and functional is really impressive to me. I did not know that was possible, but I guess, when it's a toy, they have to put a lot of thought into the design. I imagine it's really hard for the mascots just swinging about as the Cures are fighting and leaping and being slammed on the ground, but that's pretty much all I had to say about their forms when they're a toy. But anyway, Lance is definitely my favorite design in fairy form, and Davy is my favorite in human form. I don't have very strong feelings toward these, so we're just going to move on to the villains. The villains in this season were the Selfish Trio. I did not like the colors they chose to give them. I wish everyone had their individual color, the pale green, the purple, and the red, as well as the violet, didn't always work for me. It was very hit or miss in my opinion. We're going to start with the one who doesn't use these colors, King Selfish. King Selfish has a really imposing figure that we see from early on. He has this glowing, gaping mouth that's red, and the horns that make him look like a devil. His silhouette towers over Trump Kingdom, making him seem really imposing. It looks like, a sealed evil, which is kind of what he is, but I just think it's really cool, and it's actually kind of scary. Like, if I saw this as a kid, I might have freaked out. Ida's design uses violet, red, and black. It's a lot to take in, to be honest. I prefer the beta design because it gives them a messy look, and a bit of a pirate vibe without using those colors. It uses purple mainly. There is also a beta design that's a bit too regal that I wouldn't want, but overall, I think they should have used the beta design that just uses purple. It fits so much better than what we actually got. Um, I don't really like his outfit, especially the saturated purple on his top. That's the part that I really dislike, but if you like it, that's fine. Next, we'll move on to Mamo. Mamo uses the three colors way better in my opinion, and that's because the shade of purple is desaturated. That was the problem I had with Ida. Her puffy jacket looks super stylish and it splits down the middle with her hair on both sides. It's a good way to use the colors without having them dominate her entire design or having one of them stand out too much. Um, Her sins are meant to be greed and avarice, but I don't really think any of the sins are communicated in the designs. Maybe I'm missing it, maybe someone else can see it, but yeah. She also has the cutie madam form. Her outfit really fits her character, but once again, it's really saturated, and I'm not a fan of like one bold color on a design, so I'm not the hugest fan of this. I don't like when they do that. Finally, the last of the main three is Belle. His design uses green, which I think identifies him as the leader because it's a different shade of green than all the rest. The design is really cool. The flowing coat and the shades make him look super relaxed, and it kind of fits because I think the sin he was based off was sloth. That's something I really liked about this season. The fact that they chose the seven deadly sins and tried to assign them to different characters. There's also Leva and Gula. I don't like the colors on either of them, but I do prefer the colors on Gula. The hair is very fun in both designs. Um, However, the lipstick on Leva kind of feels unnecessary. I feel like they were just trying to make a stereotypical campy villain. All I'm saying is like the way he was paired with Gula was definitely a decision. I'm kind of willing to overlook it because Dokidoki is kind of like that even with the heroes, but anyway, I really do prefer Gula's design between the two of them. The spikes on his ankles and wrists are a great touch. They make him look tough and intimidating. The belly plate is also unique. I don't think a lot of people like this design element, at least from how it was during the fandom at the time. I really do like his design better than Leva. The only selfish generals we didn't get to see were the ones based off of Lust, and there's another villain called Goma who appears as a silhouette in episode 46. So now that we've talked about pretty much everyone's designs, there are a few minor characters I want to bring up. I'm not going to talk about them too much, but I think their designs do deserve just a few seconds of spotlight. I love Jonathan Klondike's design. I love Ange. I love the past Cures, especially Cure Magician, because I think she's the only one we actually got to see. And I love the dog villain from the movie. Very stylish hair. So we're gonna go over the power-ups now that we've done everyone else. And we're gonna start with Cure Heart's Parthenon mode. A lot of people were really pissed about this. And I feel like because Cure Heart got a solo power-up, Megumi getting one in the next season wasn't like helping the situation. But regardless, I appreciate the level of detail here. It gives off such a regal vibe. It doesn't just make her hair bigger, it just gives her a crown-shaped collar or a crown-like collar and adds a big white cape in addition to the wings they already had. Overall, it's very beautiful to look at, and I like how they lighten it because Mana's use of pastel pink and pastel blue here really shines through. Cure Heart's Engage mode is amazing too. I didn't like it initially because I really didn't like this season when I watched it. It's like a ballroom dress. I know it's ironic to call it that when it's literally just a wedding dress, but it does remind me a bit more of ballroom than it does, an actual wedding. It deviates a lot from the original, which is something I love about power-ups. The hair is a bit messy at the back. I don't see why she needed 4 gigantic tails of golden hair. It looks fine in the movie though, but looking at the design, it's just, I don't know why that's there. I love the translucent fabric they add to it. It really does help it feel more like a wedding dress, and the gloves are really pretty. I also enjoy the way she has a triple heart tiara on the top of her head because it just helps the design look more grand. It reminds me of a wedding tiara. And overall, for a wedding themed power-up, this does everything right. It looks really impractical, which is something I also like because as an idol anime fan, I've always been a fan of outfits that are just doing the absolute most. And I think this is an outfit that really shows that sometimes more is for the best. It's so good to look at. Cure Heart got 2 incredible, solid power-ups at the cost of her team getting nothing but wings, which look fine. Now that we've gone over the designs, let's get to the stock footage. And the transformation music is the first thing that comes to mind for me. It has this heroic swell that makes it really enjoyable, and it's also not too busy given that most of it's just airy sounds, and it only starts getting extra towards the end as well as the beginning. As far as the individual girls' transformations go, I don't have much to say. There was a lot more in Smile, but these are pretty standard. They're very pretty to look at, and the way the clothes appear is creative. Each of them gains their hair first, something they kept for Happiness Charge. Mana just smiles throughout the whole thing. Alice Alice bounces playfully, Makopi doesn't smile. Aguri definitely has the standout transformation, with lots of fluid movement and a shiny new toy. The flames surrounding her as her dress forms and the bursts really make her transformation impactful. Once again, the music swells at the right moments to really get the impact across. Something neat that I liked was how they all made their respective card suit after the transformation. It was really cool and creative for them to do that with their hands, and I loved watching it every time because I would always do it as well, kind of like how the fresh transformations used phones, so I would use my phone. But yeah, like I said, honestly not too much to talk about, so let's just head to the attacks. The first attacks are pretty basic. Hearts is a bright pink flash, Diamond has ice, and Rosetta has a sturdy wall. I do like Sword's attack though because she shoots swords out and it's shot from the front, which is a kind of interesting angle. It could have been a side view, which would have been easier to like animate perspective wise. But the second attacks are where things really get interesting because now we have the Love Heart Arrow, one of my favorite weapons throughout the entire franchise. I love that it's a heart-shaped bow and how it opens up, and it's got a really sturdy midsection. It just looks like so much fun to use. It extends. It feels like a versatile weapon, kind of like the birth ears from Sweet Precure, because those could be used in so many different ways. I honestly wish I could buy one, but I don't think they're still available, or at least available at like a cheap price. Heart uses her Love Heart Arrow for Heart Shoot. Diamond uses it like a tambourine. Rosetta uses it like a wall. And Sword uses it as a bow. I actually like that they used it in different ways because it really does make the weapon seem versatile. I'm guessing the kids must have loved seeing this because if I saw a weapon that could do all these things, I would definitely want it. And when we get our 5th Ranger, she doesn't use this, but she does have the Love Kiss Rouge, which has incredible glamour shots throughout the attack. She has this powerful red blast that purifies the monsters, and honestly, all the attacks from Dokidoki are such a joy to watch. There's also the group attacks, and the first one that I'll cover is Lovely Force Arrow. I love how they summon the Love Heart Arrow, you know. They put their hands up and look to the sky and it comes into their arms. I just find it really grand, as well as the music that they use. Something I forgot to mention was the transformation music swells in all the right places, you know, at the beginning and at the end, while the rest is filled with like airy, somewhat heroic sounding music. I think that's how I'd describe the transformation theme. The animation, or rather the spectacle, doesn't really stop as we go into Lovely Straight Flush. They summon the magical Lovely Pad, another incredibly designed piece of merchandise, and it just kind of appears in a bolt of lightning, which I found so cool. And the little bit of emphasis they add as Cure Heart is trying to shoot the card really does make it seem like a powerful projectile. And once they get the magical Lovely Harp, it just keeps going. The wings are a simple power-up, but for this attack they work. I love the little sigil-like design that they're all at, and how they look like. Honestly, it's an incredible group attack that I think really shows how much you can do with just, you know, a simple power-up and a simple weapon. It's basically just a different version of the first one. It's kind of like how Smile had the same group attack for almost the whole season, but they just had 2 different versions of it. Overall, I've really enjoyed making this episode of Design Diary. Design Diary is normally more difficult to edit because I have to find specific images, but if you liked it, be sure to let me know by liking and subscribing. But if you like where this is going, be sure to stick around. Anyway, next time I'll probably be talking about Aikatsu Planet. I've been making a lot of Precure content, and I think it's time that I put something else on this channel, so I'm going to be talking about Aikatsu next time. I would talk about Pre-Chan, but to be honest, the season's kind of not great to me, and I'm not really enjoying it, but I might get into that once it's over.